There are many reviews of Timefactors Smiths watches in the web, but this one is going to be a little bit different. I will also talk about the buying experience and the customer support, which are also two issues very important to take into account when buying something of any value. I will try to be as objective as possible, but of course Timefactors is free to comment in the comments below, and it can provide its own version. I do keep timestamped all the emails we have exchanged to prove my claims. Let me say first that the Smiths Everest Expedition it's a very nice watch, and I have been looking for it for a very long time. I think it has a great design and a nice story behind it. When talking about designs that are copied from previous watches and homages in general, this is very important. When I finally got the watch, I really loved it. So I have had some experiences and now I'm considering selling it, and also the other Smiths Everest that I have. So I'm going to explain why. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about the watch itself and the positives and the negatives. In the negatives, I will also talk about the buying process. The positives. There are many reviews about this watch, so you pretty much will know how it looks like and the measures. So it is a 36mm in diameter watch with a 20mm lug space, 43.5mm lug-to-lug distance, and around 11mm high. It has a screw-down crown and 100 meters water resistance. It also has a sapphire crystal and drill lugs. The watch is inspired by the real Smiths that went to the Everest Expedition in 1953, although it was a little bit different. And also the ones used in the Antarctic exploration, like the A454, and it has a vintage vibe. It has a good movement. It is a workhorse 9039 Miyota movement, with no ghost position in the stem like the 9015. It's automatic but unidirectional rotor winding, so it can be a little bit noisy sometimes, but not really bothering. I cannot talk about the accuracy of this one as I am not wearing anymore, but the 9015 that I've been using in the other watch has been very accurate, almost one of the most accurate mechanical watches that I have had, with the permission of the Hamilton khaki field. The new bracelet is much better than the older version. It has screws for easy adjustment and an engraved Smiths logo in the clasp. The dial is very nice. It has a classic Smiths tuna logo, and the color palette is excellent, with craned dial, red second hand, and thermal blue hour and minute hands. Painted indices with reasonable lume that last more than you would expect from this field watch. Together with the watch and the bracelet you get an additional leather strap, and the price for the quality of the watch is quite reasonable. Now the negatives, and I will also analyze not only the watch but the buying process. Keep in mind that this first point is not really about the watch, but the feeling that buying it leaves you in the memory, which can affect the way you perceive the watch later on. And how is this process? Well, first, the shop only opens every couple of months and only for a few minutes. In my opinion, this is not a good user experience. You save your hard-earned money, and if something goes wrong, chances are you will not be able to get what you set for in a reasonable time. We don't like this in other brands, and I don't think here we should like it either. Talking about buying, next here is a personal story many will have experienced also. Actually, I bought the watch once before. I wasn't receiving, so I contacted Eddie when the money reserve was cancelled in my account, and he told me with a single sentence that everything was fine. Well, a month later, after not receiving the watch, I contacted him again, And he told me that he sent an email saying that the order was cancelled. But after checking my email, I don't have anything like that. I'm not saying he didn't send it, just that I don't seem to find it. But okay, these things can happen, so not real problem with that, okay? And after a few days, I got lucky because there was a newsletter saying that there was a chance to buy the watch again in a few days from there. So I was able to again buy it for a second time. This time the shop was open for only 3 minutes. And only a week later, I got the watch that I am reviewing. And here are a few negatives about the watch itself. Okay, the bracelet is much better than the previous one, but it's still not as good as it should. The finishes, when you look it closer, I don't think they are the best, especially with the endlinks. Okay, the milk clasp has a weird color here, and it only offers 3 micro adjustments. Also, on a personal point, I don't really like the fake riveted links, but that's a personal preference and not a deal breaker. The other supplied leather band has great colors and combine perfectly with the dial of the watch, but it doesn't seem to be of a very high quality either. When you look it on the side, it's not as good as other bands that you can get. Also, the buckle is interesting, very interesting with a vintage look, but at the end of the day, it's a little bit too big to be comfortable. However, the worst part was one of the end links. I removed the bracelet and put on the leather strap. When I was trying to put the bracelet back, one of the end links didn't allow one side of the spring bar to properly fit in the case hole. It was really difficult to put it back. I tried many times, with other end links and spring bars. I put the end link on different sides of the watch, everything. Okay, I might be wrong, but it seems to me like it's defective. So I wrote to Eddie to kindly tell him about this, hoping maybe he could give me some suggestion or a simple solution or something. And now here comes the ugly part of this story. And I was quite shocked when I read his answer. He just said that it wasn't possible, that the bracelet was in the watch when it was shipped, so the end link had to be right. This in one sentence, and that was all. So we exchanged many other emails, and for instance, in one of them he said that why should people be playing with the watch? So I shouldn't have removed the bracelet to be able to put the supplied leather strap on it? What? I mean, what? The whole conversation was surreal. You can read the whole official support email exchange in the description. No warranty, no refund, no sending another end link just to check, not even the option for me to buy one, the way I asked him from almost the beginning of our weird conversation. Aggressive mails not wanting him to admit that maybe, just maybe, I could be right. All in all, a very rude and acceptable way to talk to a customer. And when I told him that I would make this review, he told me that I would just seem like a bitter man not able to change a bracelet. Still, he seemed not to be able to understand that that is not the way you write to another human being, just asking for help or advice. And that's a shame. Truly believe he should hire a good PR or a professional support team to deal with other human beings. So in conclusion, I like watches and I like photography, and I have recommended these watches. I have taken pictures of them for people to appreciate and to buy. But after this experience by a rude customer non-existing support, I cannot but associate the watches with the rudeness and the mocking of the one who designs and sells them. That is the reason I will most probably get rid of both of the watches and to find another field watch. Meanwhile, I have one nice real thing. Similar design, pure story. Caravelle Sea Hunter Devil's Diver 666. Watches from Timefactors are good ones, don't get me wrong. And if you can find a reasonable priced second-hand one, you should consider buying it. However, be aware that the bracelet is not that good. It doesn't match the overall quality of the watch itself. And don't expect to have a great customer care from Timefactors. Should something go wrong, would you need any advice from him? Timefactors might have one of the best homages of the Rolex Explorer 1016s, for instance. But on the other side, it has one of the worst parodies of a customer support. Because even if he was right, which I truly believe he was not, the way he writes in such a disrespectful manner, the lack of care to a client, the absence of empathy, makes me not want to recommend buying from his store at all. There are many other places where you can put your money, sellers that will respect you the way you deserve, and not be treated like a poor bitter man unable to put a defective end link in a watch. And thank you very much everybody for watching this video. See you in the next one.